Sophie Ash here from Prospology, and I'm here to talk to you about the parallel selves model. This is a really cool model that I developed to show you what your future could look like. Now, there isn't just one future. There are actually four futures that you could have. And so we're going to look at what that could be and how you can actually get to where you want to be in that time. So on the left here, there's this gray box. This is where you are right now. And then as we move to the right, you can see there's this 12-month timeline that then leads to you in the future. Pretty simple concept. This time is going to go by regardless of what you do or don't do, what you think, what you believe, what happens to you, all of your circumstances. This time will go by regardless. So you really need to think about where you want to be in 12 months and what that could look like. There's four different futures that I'm going to present to you. So think about which one feels most like the one you want and which one more closely represents the trajectory that you're on right now. The best case scenario for your future in 12 months is you'll be a lifestyle entrepreneur. Everybody comes into freelance medical writing because they want more freedom and flexibility. They want to travel. They want to take time off. They want to pay for their hobbies and all these exciting things that they have going on. And as a lifestyle entrepreneur, you can do that. And as somebody who achieved that myself, I can say it's well worth it and something that everybody should be aspiring to. So that's the first future, and that's the best case scenario. Underneath that, we have the maxed out freelancer. So this is somebody who is successful in establishing their writing business, and they have clients, they have some money coming in, and they could probably sustain this for a while. However, they are pretty busy. They may even be burned out. They don't have that much freedom. They're sort of at the beck and call of their clients, and they're really just doing whatever is needed of them. They're not really experiencing the lifestyle benefits that they hoped they would, or maybe they don't really have any lifestyle needs or desires that they've thought about. The next feature down from this is living on breadcrumbs. Now, a lot of freelancers or business owners in general will end up here because they never quite figure out how to monetize the value that they bring, and they never quite get enough work or make enough money to support their life. So even the essential things, rent and, bills and food and all of that, it becomes really difficult to sustain this trajectory. So it's actually worse than you are right now. And the worst future that you could see 12 months from now is being the begrudged employee. So this is somebody who tried to start a writing business and maybe they had some results, but they never saw consistent results. They never had enough clients to support them. They always had to look at plan B, plan C, other sources of income. And they ended up having to go back to work for somebody who they didn't really like, they didn't really trust. They don't feel like there's any real purpose in the work that they're doing. They just pay the bills and they get by. And they always wonder what would have happened if they could make their business successful. So these are the four different futures. Any one of these could be you 12 months from now. So which one do you want it to be? When we think about the red zone here, the begrudged employee, there's a downward trajectory here, the biggest downward trajectory that there could be. And this is actually what happens when you don't do anything differently at all, when you're really not thinking about where you want to be, you're not putting any effort into getting to a certain place, you're just kind of drifting. That's what happens. Everybody finds themselves there. If you're making a bit of effort, but it's not quite working because you don't really know where to put your attention, it's going to be more of a gradual decline, but it's still very much a decline. So it's going to be worse than where you are right now, but not as bad as the begrudged employee. If you want to be the maxed out freelancer, or that's where you end up, then it's going to be a slight incline. So you're going to have some of the right efforts and actions, but it's not going to be enough to take you all the way to the top. And to get to that dark green future, the lifestyle entrepreneur, you're going to have that steeper incline with your trajectory. Now, people don't just accidentally get onto this dark green line. There is decision that has to be made along the way that this is the line you want to be on and this is the future you want to have. And you also need to be taking the right actions in order to stay on that green line and follow that trajectory all the way up. It actually gets riskier, harder, and costlier the longer it takes you to get onto that dark green line. So if you look at the left side and you see where you are right now, you're actually really close to the dark green line. It's not that big of a jump. But as time goes on, you might get more and more tired or use up more of your resources or get caught up in other things that are not part of that trajectory. And then before you know it, you've dropped off and you're on one of the downward lines. So the idea is that because this time is going to go by regardless of what you do, then be intentional and jump to the line you want to be on, ride that curve all the way, and accelerate your progress. Move towards the future that you want. And that's what our framework does. It helps you get onto that dark green line and then move that all the way up. And it's my job to help make sure that people stay on that line. People don't fall off the line, they behave their way off it. And so we can correct those behaviors, we can correct those mindsets and those patterns that are making them want to shift downwards, and we can make sure that they stay on that upward trajectory. So given all these possible futures, given that you're as close to the dark green line now than you'll ever be, my question to you is, how long are you prepared to wait? It's only going to get harder the longer you wait. So think about how that dark green line can become the next 12 months of the decisions and actions that you take. And if you're interested in getting support in doing this, let me know. I can walk you through our framework and how we do this at Prospology. And then we can talk about what enrollment options could look like.